Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching another edition of Soundbite. It's when I talk about different topics. Normally, only one subject is what we do talk about on a more intimate level, where I just give my input on what I feel about the whole situation. Today, we'll be talking about the Real Housewives brand on Bravo. Is it evolving, or are they living on borrowed time? Please be sure to like this video. You can also share, leave your comments below, and subscribe if you are new. Now let's get into it. Okay, y'all. So, of course, this past week, the trailer for The Real Housewives of Atlanta did drop. Their season will begin on the first week of April, I believe. April 5th seems to come to my mind. I don't know exactly, but just look at the first Sunday in April, and that's when it will premiere. Have you guys seen the trailer? I would love your thoughts on it. Some people believe that this is what we wanted from last season, just by the trailer. Some people are like, ghetto. No, that's not what we like. That's not what we want. That's not what the fans want to see. All I can tell you is how I feel, and I'm not impressed. They've added 2 more people to the roster, which is Pinky and K. Michelle. I think there's 8 housewives, and I think Cynthia is the friend of the show. One, it's cool that they've moved past the normal 6 or 5 for Roa, because some do get 8, 9, 10, 11. However, now that we're grown and you see how it goes, you cannot tell 8 women's stories. It's not going to happen. Someone is going to be left on the chopping block. Since Phaedra gives no story, there's no reason for her to be back. Because of her contract, she was allowed to at least stay on in the NBC Universal realm. She was supposed to be on Married to Medicine. Only because they were desperate to get something nostalgic and nothing was really going on last season, that she ended up getting her way and coming back to the Housewives brand. All I saw, to me, is Portia being performative. She's dating a man and also dating a woman for storyline. And I think it's just to keep her relevant and keep her in the blogs and people talking about her so that she can stay on the show. That's my opinion. Now, they said that the guy that Portia's dating was on Ready to Love. So basically ready to hire. So she has a woman that she's dating that is what we call a stud. Studs are the ones that are more masculine presenting, even as a woman. So yeah. Do I believe that Portia has attraction to women? Yes, I do. Do I think that she wants this girl right here? No. And do I think that she's just this so comfortable with her sexuality? No. No. She was mad that Kenya brought up about her sleeping with that stripper along with Tanya. Tanya threatened to sue. That was season 13. You think that she's all of a sudden just so free. One thing I am so waiting for is for PJ's book, her tell-all book. That girl has seen some stuff. I think Angela's going to be well. Drew, I finally have come to like her. This is her 5th season. Now, here's my question. Some of y'all liked her from the back, and I believe that that's because of her celebrity status. You've known her from movies and stuff like that, and TV shows. But she's really not become a housewife and really been able to, how can I say this, nurture into a reality star really until last year. And that's my opinion. So many others didn't even get the chance. And I think because of her celebrity status, she was able to stay on. No matter how crazy her storylines were. But anyways, like, I'm finally evolving from that. Um, who else? Cynthia's just going to be Cynthia. But Pinky and K Michelle are joining. Pinky is she's the one that has a franchise for Slutty Vegan. A lot of y'all don't like her. Some of y'all are saying that she has this stank attitude. I've never met her before, so how do y'all know? Have y'all met her up close? One person I did ask, like, what is your issue with with her? And they said, let me just tell you this. Or let me just say this. That's what they said. When you start off a sentence like that, you have not had a personal encounter with this lady. And I just said, okay. Basically, that she has this stink attitude. Okay. There's a lot of people with stink attitudes that are on reality TV. Why can't she be a part of this? And we don't even know what she's like in the reality TV world. I really wanted some reference. Has she been on another reality show? What is it? I have not ever seen her in the blogs as for her being mean or nasty, but y'all know. K Michelle, whom I actually enjoy. I know that I'm going to have to keep an eye on her. And I feel like she's going to perform for the internet to try to be on the show. And I need her to be herself. Just like Marlo. When she became a housewife, all of a sudden she was just doing too much for no reason whatsoever. And it was just clashing. Drew is an easy target. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Drew being a liar. We know. And the reason that I'm on alert with her, even before the season started, remember when the whole thing with Reasonable Shading with Giselle and Robin, when they were talking about, are we just recycling housewives? Da 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 da. And this is before Rachel Zoe, so I'm sure that they would have included her in it. But Rachel Zoe is on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But anyways, when Angel Love went to Married to Medicine, and then K Michelle came over to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, it was an uproar. Like, what are we doing? She's from the Love and Hip Hop brand. The other one's from the Basketball Wives brand. Some people had their opinions about that. Some said, why can't she be over here? Others are like, what are we doing? Why are we just now? We're running out of reality stars that we got to go take other reality stars from other franchises to build them. To me, I thought it was weird, and I did turn my nose up to it. It's no offense to K Michelle, but it's just like all this time, y'all wouldn't let these folks in, and now it's okay. Yeah, but I'm going to have to watch her because I just don't think that she's going to come in real. And I think she's going to be performative to entertain the internet. And I don't think these beefs are going to be authentic. Now, she's supposed to be coming at Phaedra too. But y'all mad at her about that too. Because Phaedra's supposed to be untouchable and supposed to, woo child. And y'all okay with that. That's all I got to say about the show. So, again, people did not like the trailer. I was one of them because I'm like, what are we doing? Some said, well, this show has been on for 17 years. And I'm confused as to what you want out of a show. If it's been on for 17 years and you're saying that type of question, you kind of answered your own question. Should the show still be remaining? Is Housewives still a relevant brand? Or are we living on borrowed time? I think that we're living on borrowed time. It's not working anymore. Constant casting changes. Y'all have let bloggers infiltrate and try to tell a reality show story. It takes over the show. You got lawsuits. You remove the old folks. Housewives was a brand that was brought to us that was inspired by Desperate Housewives that ran on ABC for about 7 or 8 years, where it featured women living behind the gates. They wanted to see what that lifestyle was. What were these women? What were the social spheres you were in? How do you interact with your peers? How do you spend your money? What do you spend your money on? What is your married life like? That's what it was. Yes, in 2006, it's totally different from 2026. A lot of women aren't staying with their husbands. And we found out that Housewives was a gateway for these women to escape their husbands. Some it has launched people into stardom. At this point, there aren't any stars. Is the formula really working? Some say, well, Atlanta's evolving, so why y'all sitting up here hating? Is it hating, or that we know that we're just getting piss poor content? You tell me. Y'all act like Truly Original Entertainment is one of the thriving production companies. And they're not. They have treated both Atlanta and Potomac like trash for several years. And when people say it's ghetto, it's ghetto. These shows shouldn't be bleeding into each other. For years, it was Basketball Wives is copying off of Housewives. Love and Hip Hop, all these wives shows came out and they were copying off of the Housewives brand. You're not superior. And there used to be a set apart. We knew what Housewives was, we knew what Love and Hip Hop was, we knew what Basketball Wives was, and so forth, etc. Can y'all really say that there's a difference anymore? Y'all let me know. Now, Bravo, the network, is evolving. They don't know how to push forward the Housewives brand. Is the Housewives brand necessary right now anymore? Since wives are different, women are different because there's hardly any wives, even on these shows. Women are different and have evolved. Should we change the name? These are just things that I'm coming to you about. And I think that black people in specifics want to hold on to Atlanta and Potomac because that's all we got. Some of y'all are okay with Married to Medicine, but y'all don't really like that. Y'all are so more interested in the Housewife brand. Cool. But I just don't understand, because y'all hate it when anyone has any type of critique about Atlanta. Y'all say, oh, because your fave's not on there. But y'all started it all back in season 13. When Nene decided to leave because she wasn't getting the right appropriate episodes, she left. And then decided to sue the company and help lead the charge of a boycott. Some of us soldiered on while y'all was still on the internet harassing us to quit watching the show. Nene made it so, I feel, that she helped influence for y'all to not watch Candy Show that got canceled after one season. Would it be nice for, I don't know. Should Nene return back to Housewives? They got Vicky Galveston returning back to OC. Do y'all really think that there's going to be such this phenomenon because she's back on the show that's dying? Again, I've been saying this for a while. Y'all been putting water in your radiators instead of going to the shop and getting it fixed, or even putting in the right liquids that's supposed to be in there. That's what's been happening to the Housewives brand for a while. And I also think that y'all waited too late for BravoCon. That should have been happening around, I say, at least 10 years ago. And it's just like, what we're left with, like, who are we, at least who I treasure, who am I actually going to see at this BravoCon? And that's why I'm like, why would I spend all of this money for what? Now, some of y'all are there to make a name for yourselves. And I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Some of y'all have found why you go to BravoCon. But it's not about really the stars. I'll just say that. But it's just like, who would I go see? I'm not a Karen Huger fan, so I don't want to see her. That's just my thing. I think for Nene return, I mean, cool, but is it going to save the show? I don't think so. I think it would be interesting to see what life is after Greg. But does it have to be on Housewives? No. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say about that. As I said before, Bravo is evolving, but I don't think that the Housewives brand is evolving. And y'all say Atlanta is evolving, but evolving into what? That's what we need to know. Is it evolving into having sit-downs at strip joints where a stripper is going down a pole to be distracting as you giving tea to your friend? That's what it's evolving into? I have nothing against going to strip clubs, to go there to have fun. But y'all mean that we're just going there to get some living pepper wings and then you giving them the latest tea? That don't make sense. Again, there was this upper echelon for Housewives, or Phaedra would still be on the Braxton show if that was the case. They get a certain amount of money. Okay. Basketball Wives, let me just move on to this. Basketball Wives doesn't exist anymore because it don't make sense no more. That's all there is to it. They've done everything they could to save Basketball LA. Basketball Miami, they stayed on for 4 years, but then LA was even struggling. So then they brought some over the Miami folk because all of a sudden y'all was canceled and we didn't even know what happened. What really killed that show was the Eugene versus Evelyn situation. I was done with the show after that. I wasn't going to watch it. All that colorism that was going on, featureism that was going on, that no one really wanted to take accountability for. But most of those wives didn't even live. Nobody lived in LA. Everybody's traveling across the country just to come and to fill the show. They gotta get Airbnb. It was totally fake. And even the only basketball wife was Jackie. She had to travel down from Sacramento or something like that in order to film. Like, why? It wasn't making any sense. And that's why that brand is over with. Housewives is remaining, and Love and Hip Hop is hanging on by a thread too. It is evolving. What is it evolving to? I don't know. But all I can say that sooner rather than later, even though y'all don't believe it, Housewives is going to be gone. And quit hating that some of us are critiquing what you don't want to lose. You want to beg the white man to keep the show on because you know that there's only a few shows on. They've realized that they had to step out of the Housewives brand and start building other brands. They already was starting it with the Summer House. They had a spinoff for Winter House. That didn't really go over too well after a while. They only lasted like for 2 or 3 seasons themselves. But now they have a new show, Next Gen, that was very successful. The Next Generation in New York. They're already spinning off to have an LA one. Now they're going to test out a new show called In the City. That's going to feature a bunch of the Summer House folk, which I feel like is a show to age out the Summer House folk. I mean, you're in your 40s and still partying like you're in your 20s. That don't look hot or attractive. So I see what they're doing. They created the Valley for the aging out Vanderpump Rules folk. They brought in new folk, younger cast, a younger, fresher cast. They are doing things to reach different demographics because for the longest time it's been Housewives and us watching the aunties do their due. But that's not really selling like that. I thought, oh, okay, well maybe they could really survive now that they are getting all these other shows. But if you notice that most of these new shows aren't for black people. And I'm telling you, black people are not going to be featured much longer on Bravo like that. They will be the side characters again. So y'all can love me, y'all can hate me for what I'm saying. It's almost over, y'all. It's almost over for the Housewives brand. It's almost over for black people really being featured on Bravo. I mean, the highest ratings, the real bread and butter at this point is all of those boat shows. Lord. Those, they get the highest ratings. I'm trying to think of the boat shows. Whatever they're called. But they come on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, on, I think Monday and Tuesday. But yeah, they have several spinoffs. They're in their 10th seasons. Most of them are. So, no. So if you're thinking that Bravo is really invested into black people, they're not. They're not. We made them money. Oh, yes, because Roy was must-see TV. It's not must-see TV anymore. And y'all can be delusional as you want to about it. But it's the truth. And again, we do this delusional black loyalty to not have our shows gone. And that's what makes y'all watch. That's even happening with Grey's Anatomy. You know, I loved Grey's Anatomy. They're in their 22nd season. There's really no reason for it to be on, but it's on, and they do have still a faithful audience. but is it really relevant anymore? They get some good ratings. And it took ABC a long time to find something to really fit to take over for Grey's Anatomy. And that's why now, what is it? The 911 shows, they've come over to the ABC side and have taken over, and now is at least it's giving them good ratings that now they could possibly let go of Grey's Anatomy. That's why Grey's Anatomy stayed on for a long time. But yeah, if y'all still want to watch Roa. I'm not telling anyone to watch. I wish you all would demand more. I mean, they used an AI generated photo when they could easily fund a photo shoot. One person tried to argue me down, acting like, oh, this happens on every franchise. Not on Beverly Hills until this last season. Every season they get a new cast photo. And then he tried to show me every one of them. I said, yeah, they're all different. They're all different. And not because of AI. No, these were cast photos. There is budget. And you mean to tell me that they made all that money at BravoCon and you can't provide a new photo? No. I'm good on all that. No. They're cheap when it comes to the black franchises. And y'all still want to tolerate it because you don't want to get rid of your black shows. I feel sorry for some of y'all, but when they announce the cancellation, don't get mad. Still continue to watch. Again, I ain't saying that, but don't get mad at us thinking that we are crabs in the barrel. No, we're looking at things. Look at the vacations. Look at the events and stuff. They're cheap. There is no elegance that used to be on the show. But I digress. Y'all can let me know. Is Housewives evolving? Or is time's up? The Housewives brand. And you can tell me what you think about Bravo as a network. I think they have chosen to evolve. And they're moving on. Sooner rather than later. So, anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Until the next one, peace.